people never ever think about. But then, like a grim avenger, it comes back, it returns to strike us down again. And there seems to be some kind of cycle operating, which perhaps we don't fully understand. And I suppose the alarming prospect, and the one that should focus our minds and that we should consider seriously, is that this cyclical cataclysm spoken of in the ancient myths and in the traditions just might return in our own time. We should learn the lessons of history, that we should be aware that what struck our ancestors down may return to strike us again today. We could indeed be facing the return. All we have are the memories and the traditions and perhaps the warnings that have been passed down to us by ancient civilizations. And there's no doubt in my mind, very clearly ringing out like a bell, is a warning coming down to us from the past. And
do you think one of those warnings was issued by the Mayans?
Yes, I do. I think the Mayan calendar is extremely interesting in this respect. And the Mayan calendar does, of course, contain a prophecy which could be interpreted as a prophecy literally of the end of the world in our time, certainly of the end of civilization as we know it, and very specific dates. And the date the Maya put on it, translated into our calendar, is the 21st of December, 2012, as of course is very widely known. I think many people in the world today are aware of this ancient warning and slightly spooked by it and rightly concerned by what it might mean. Now, it's not as simple as that. The Mayan calendar and the ideas that lie behind it are extremely complicated. The Maya were extraordinarily accurate and precise observers of the heavens, and that they had a very clear knowledge and understanding of time and the way that the passage of time affects the positions of the stars in the heavens, and in particular the positions of those stars lying in the background against the rising point of the sun on the horizon on particular days of the year. And what happens on 21 December 2012, and in fact, really, as John Major Jenkins points out, we're looking more at a window here rather than a very specific and exact moment, a window of about 40 years. Now, I think what's going on here is that the Maya are not saying that in itself causes the disaster. I think they're saying that is the marker by which we can recognize the return of the disaster. It's like a clock in the heavens, and their astronomy was so accurate that they were able to predict this event thousands and thousands of years ago.
Well, given that date and a 40-year window, our butts are just about hanging out that window now. Our
butts are right hanging out of that window now, and I do think that we need to take seriously what the Maya had to say, but that it also involves responsibly studying exactly what the Maya did have to say. And that is a very complicated message, not an extremely simple message.
You got, this is about a 10-minute piece, but you got the point. You got the point of this piece right here. Now, you wanted to say something, Mark? You had something to say?
Yeah, this is from the webpage Teotihuacan. Underneath religion, it says, the religion of Teotihuacan was similar to those of the Mesoamerican cultures. Many of the same gods were worshipped, including the feathered serpent, the Aztecs Quetzalcoatl, and the rain god, the Aztecs Tlaloc. The dominant civic architecture is the pyramid. Politics were based on the state religion. Religious leaders were the political leaders. And it's interesting to note that Quetzalcoatl and Kukulkan means basically the same thing, which means the feathered serpent. Right. So.
Now, in the book of Psalm, the 68th chapter, it speaks about the, Psalms, the 91st chapter, it speaks about the angels coming down and their feathers, their hands. That's in Psalms 91. That's in Isaiah. That's also in Psalms 68. Okay. Matter of fact, I believe that's in Psalm 68 and 13. Feathered serpent. And then it also speaks when Moses, when they left out of Egypt, the Most High instructed Moses to build this brass serpent, and that serpent was called Nehushtan, which means brass serpent. And the ones that looked up to it, which supposedly represent the Yahweh Shai, the snakes and the serpents wouldn't bite them. But the ones that didn't look up got bitten. All right? Go ahead.
Psalms chapter 68 verse.
And let me say this. This right here, these classes these shows that you watch are for more scholarly Israelites. You know, we're not focusing this on them guys that just want to hear us call the white man the devil and all that. We're going. This is not this is not entertainment. This is serious study. So if the Most High gave you that serious mind to get into serious topics, well, you in the right place. Okay? All right, go ahead.
Psalm 68:13. Though you have lion among the pots, yet shall you be as the wings of a dove covered with silver, and her feathers with gold, with yellow gold.
Yeah, because like I said, Kukulkan and Quetzalcoatl means feathered serpent. All right. Now, if you go to the book of Isaiah, the 6th chapter, and start from the first verse, it tells you about the wings, and it tells you about the seraphim and so forth. And the word seraphim means a serpent or fiery flying serpent. Go ahead.
It says, Isaiah chapter 6 verse 1, in the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also the Lord sitting upon a throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Above it stood the seraphims. It says, above it stood the seraphims. Each one had 6 wings. With twain he covered his face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly. And one cried unto another, and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. And the posts of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with smoke.
Now read from the word seraphim come up. All right, go ahead.
It says, above it stood the seraphims. Each one had 6 wings.
Now it said wings. Wings normally have feathers on it, right? The word seraphim, and the brother's going to probably look it up, but I'm going to tell you what it means. The word seraphim means serpent or fiery flying serpent. This was basically a shuttle ships, groups of shuttle ships that came out of the so-called mothership, which was a big ship. And it mentions that when you read it down, because the Lord came out of the major ship. So you had so-called shuttle ships come down. Now, when I went to Mexico back in '87, I went to a museum called Museum of Anthropology. All right? And they had a tour, and they showed that, what was the name of that city? I forget the name of the city that they built where they founded Mexico. There was a prophet or a priest that said, look, when you see the eagle eating the snake, that's where the city's going to be built. And they built the city right there. That's where Mexico City, that was the center of the rest of Mexico, where Issachar dwelt. So in Mexico City, they have a museum called, and it was opened back in I believe it was '64. I went there in '87. That's a famous museum.